Hola Gloria, and this is a show called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole. And on this show we like to go into topics more deeply. And at the moment we're streaming on rabbitholecentral.tv. However, I am in hair rollers and I don't want my image to be seen because I'm with my dear friend Michelle Noble, and I don't want to produce a document that in any way or shape she might be embarrassed of. This is Michelle, my friend from Tahiti. Welcome, Michelle.
Glad to be here, Paula.
Good. And I've got this image up of me, and this is something you'll find on my website, rabbitholecentral.tv, and it says below it, "Watch the show Nelson Rockefeller kept calling about." And this refers to a show that was done in 1974 with Harold Channer when high levels of government were presented with a new economic paradigm called binary economics. And if you click on this link, then you can go to the YouTube posting and you can hear me in California talking to Harold Channer about this bright possibility of huge economic growth if we were able to distribute capital ownership. And what I'm hoping to do today is have a discussion with Michelle about being Tahitian royalty, actually, because this was called to my attention when my niece came out and her friend from Hawaii was part Hawaiian, a considerable part Hawaiian, at least one half. And when she found that you had danced for us, she said this was a blessing of such enormous magnitude. And so it seems like capital ownership or private property we think of in terms of owning real estate or owning a house or owning even shares in a company. But what could be more intimate or more important than the capital ownership of our own bodies? And I was thinking as we were spending time together, when royalty would take the responsibility for their people and then dance for their people, does that ring any bells to you about how you were brought up? Because I also know you're also part French too, so you're a blending of
I have a lot
the current times.
French and English, Scottish, Danish, Vikings.
But also indigenous
Tahitian,
of
course,
right?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot, yeah.
A lot of Polynesian in me.
Well, explain the dance from the point of the Polynesians, and the magic that happened, and the audience's receptivity.
Basically, dance is part of our culture. It means it means honoring life, honoring more than just your own self, honoring your ancestors, honoring the people, honoring nature, everything.
The people who are watching, or the people who you've come from?
You come from. You know, it's important, I think, from what I'm feeling, what I also got from my parents, my mother, basically. It's very important to honor yourself, to really feel who you are. How can you do things if you don't appreciate your own life or know who you are? And
you do the dance as an expression of
joy,
of happiness, of gratitude, of giving back?
Everything of that, yes.
Yeah.
It's celebrations. We are here to celebrate life. So dance is a form of it's an expression of your life.
And it's done at every age, right?
There is no age for dance.
In Polynesia.
As a matter of fact, you know, everyone should dance. Everyone should be able to express that flow of energy.
And the joy of having a body.
Absolutely.
Right?
You know, Polynesian people are very happy people. Of course, free. Polynesians are very free. So if you act crazy or if you are...
They don't care?
They don't care. They really don't care.
Uh-huh.
They observe and they continue going.
But would the French, for example, have taken advantage of that not caring? That they would have been too passive and their lands would have taken away? Like in Hawaii, the native Hawaiians are not owning the hotels. They gave their land away and then they work as maids in the hotels.
Yes, history of Hawaii and the history of Tahiti differ on that. And if you go to Tahiti, it's true that there's more. You sense this ownership in people. They own lands, and they don't want anyone to take this from them because it's part of the ancestors' lineage, heritage, and it's part of their strength. That's why they are strong.
Well, that's interesting. So that would imply that the missionaries that went into Hawaii would have broken that connection of the people, the native Hawaiians, from their land, seduced the land away from them, and then eventually enslaved them. So that private property, tell me about the notion of private property in Tahiti.
Once you, this is what I've been doing for many years, you really have to know your lineage. You study your genealogy, and once you really know, it's a statement. And everyone knows. Even if you go to the court and try to steal a land, it's not possible because eventually the names of the heirs come out, and that's the story of my family.
Is it part of the culture that you're we euphemistically use the term for Chinese that they worship their ancestors, but I think it's more a sense of understanding from where you come and holding on to that connection, not being bound by it so you don't see new realities or new like the New Age is wanting to do something that's never been done before, but looking deeply into the past so you never let go of your source of nourishment.
Never. Actually, this is partly why I feel I have this strength, but because I also have my ancestors so present in my soul, mind, and the fact that they also left lands is a true it's a true connection, and therefore it's a reminder, and it's in your DNA. It's really in you. Whether you dance, whether you walk on those lands, or you are dancing all the time because they are with you, and you're also a separate entity, but you do feel them too. So it's adding all strength in your life.
Now, let me say something else. I had a friend from Cambodia, and she told me that of all the colonizers, the British, the Americans, and the French, she said the worst were the French. She goes that I can't remember what she said about the British. I guess the Americans, she was pointing to Vietnam, the British, whatever. But the expression she used is the French will come all the way, oh no, I know what she said. The British will go to your front yard. No, the British will go, the Americans will go to your front yard. The British will go into the living room, but the French will go all the way into the bedroom. Do you have any idea what she meant by that? And as a result, you don't?
Well, because people have different opinions. And again, some people in Tahiti say that the British were worse than French, and some will say the French were worse than English.
And you had both.
For us, what matters is gaining back our lands.
And
it doesn't matter if the British or the French did. For a real, and this is why I can find that in Polynesia, they will, no matter what happened, they will get back what's theirs. Yeah.
So today, how is it going with the lands in Polynesia? Does it look like? I mean, because I can easily imagine ambitious people that don't have a sense of beauty, rhythm, harmony. They just have a sense of taking care of an insatiable appetite by taking, would come in and take the lands, whether they're French or British or American. Once you get this sort of machinery of ownership going, power in the courts, convince people of a certain type of rule, then you go in and grab whatever you can.
you'll be surprised, Paula, to see that the simplest, or called simplest person in the islands is working day and night to preserve their heritage. They know their lands. They know when newcomers are coming and try to steal.
Put up a hot dog stand and
it doesn't work.
it doesn't work.
No.
But did it work in Hawaii?
I think it happened so long ago, and the lands have been taken away already. In Tahiti, it's different. Luckily, we have our own government, who had been protecting the people, and I think there's a difference. I'm not sure all of the details, but that's the difference between Hawaii and Tahiti. If you go to Tahiti, you see a lot of, Tahiti and the islands. You talk to big owners with the small shorts or pareo, and you have no idea who you're talking to. So it's this sense of, I would say, even royalty. They feel so blessed, and because they understand they have to protect that. So as much as they are so much into nature, believe me, they do know how to protect their lands.
Right.
They have papers. They have all those.
They have papers.
Oh, they have papers, and if they don't, they will find it. It's a duty that everyone is doing. You'll be surprised to see that it's very, very real, because the lands, and Hawaiians know that too. There's so much in it that they can't. It's too sacred, I would say. I forgot to use that term. It's so sacred that it's their duty to protect the lands,
and yet there's generosity too and sharing. Right?
It's in their heart.
Deep
In their heart, they love everyone. It's something quite striking. I didn't know what racism was until I went abroad, because it's whoever comes there and have an open heart and respect people and nature is at home.
Right. Now, how can you relate this to the dance, the personal dance, like what my friend, my niece's friend China, you met her, she was a beautiful girl.
Yeah, beautiful.
And she's wanting to be a model, and she certainly can be. And she was getting a little wearing for my niece towards the end of a week.
Yeah.
But when she saw you dance, she shifted. And then when you went to sleep on the sofa, because it was so late after our musical event, and then the keys, we got locked out because I didn't bring the key. I thought my niece had it, she thought I had it. So you didn't dance until 1 or 2 in the morning for us. And when you went to sleep on the sofa, she said, do you realize you have royalty in your house? Why don't you let her sleep on the bed? Because I was letting the girls have the bed until they were going to leave in 1 hour, 3 o'clock in the morning, the taxi was going to pick them up. And, as far as I'm concerned, every corner of my house is sacred. So I said to her, I said, now's your chance. You can sleep with royalty, sleep on the sofa there where I was going to sleep. But she had shifted. And so can you tell me, would a Tahitian princess dance for people? And how would they express their dance? Would they only dance in the harem, or what is it like?
No, I think from the beautiful teachings I had from my mom, and from what she also said from her own family, it was quite discreet, but I had time to really, as you know, she passed away, but all her life I was actually savoring those beautiful teachings. You dance. See, this is a feeling that everyone is so precious. So when you share with someone, and I saw that she was very eager to see what this dance. It was not so sophisticated, but it was my soul dancing there. So there was no, for me, anyone is precious if I can give that, if I can transfer a message of softness and beauty, so that her memory can actually stick there and remember. Memory is actually a very big part of our traditional teachings. Memory. How do you give
a genetic memory?
A genetic memory, so that in times of maybe depression or anxiety or even joy, this picture or what she received during that dance comes back, and she will transport that in her life,
Right.
throughout her life.
Would that be a
This memory.
responsibility of royalty then, to dance
It
for
is.
people?
It is. I never really thought about that, but I think there are other dances that are doesn't come necessarily with responsibility, but maybe it can be defined this way. Now that you bring up,
Right.
everything is part of. I think everything is the teachings are what they were always concerned about. When I saw the Queen's will, for example, she was the great grandmother of my mother. I saw her concern. Her concern. She was transmitting messages for me to listen. When I saw it, I didn't know her. Of course, she died a long time ago. I was very moved because she was already thinking about how we were going the future and her descendants.
And her descendants.
In her mind,
Right.
she was already thinking how we will use them, how we will, and how we will even continue her work. Happy to even take care of those lands. It's not just a few lands, but many lands.
Right.
And how you can transform them and bring back the spirit, the right spirit, owning something, as we know,
Right.
Comes with responsibility. How you do things is very important.
Let's make a phone call to this guy that did the editing for me.
Hello.
Hey, Steve, are you up for being streamed?
I guess so.
Okay, what I have here with me now, I'm streaming on rabbitholecentral.tv if you want to watch the stream.
Okay.
But I have Michelle Noble, and she is descended from Tahitian royalty. And she did a Hawaiian dance for us a couple days ago when my niece and her friend was here.
Right.
And my niece's friend, China, is at least 50% Hawaiian. And the transformative effect that this dance had, particularly on China, I think all of us were very touched. I know I certainly was. To see this dancing, it was just wonderful. And so we've just been having about a half an hour's worth of a discussion about cultural integrity, about dance, and she just has been introduced to 9/11 truth. You know, she's fresh to control demolition, to no planes, and she was watching some of the stream that Nico Haupt put together, and right before we started this stream, she saw the editing that you did of me dancing around. And I told my dad said, "Oh, you know, this is terrible, you're like a prostitute, I'm so ashamed, I couldn't sleep all night, and you don't know how to dance, you never took a dancing lesson." So I thought that maybe we could just have a discussion with you and her, or maybe you might want to hear, first of all, fresh, what her feelings were to see me dancing and your editing.
Sure.
Okay, can you hear her? You want to say, hello, Michelle? This is Steve. Michelle?
Hi, Steve. This is Michelle. How are you?
Okay.
We've got you on the speakerphone here. Can you? Her voice is very soft, so I'll move it over.
Yeah, it's soft. I can hear it soft.
Okay. So, Michelle, what did you think when you saw that? Be honest.
Well, I laughed first, so because I was surprised to see you dancing, and to see. Well, she didn't have a pareo, so.
Didn't have a what?
Pareo.
Pareo?
Pareo is a sarong.
Sarong, yeah.
I wear sarongs when I
Right.
dance. What will be interesting is to know what's the meaning of that dancing, because I have a meaning when I dance, but what was this meaning and why did he actually do?
Well, my meaning when I was dancing is the first time I tried it, I was absolutely at my wit's end about something called the Kennebunkport Warning. It had to do with some 9/11 stuff, and Webster Tarpley was pushing this. And I had a charity, and I signed the document, and I tried to get somebody else in Europe to sign. And all of a sudden, it just seemed so in despair, so hopeless, that we've had these buildings come down and with these ridiculous explanations of how they've come down. And I just thought, you know what? If I die tomorrow, at least I'm going to dance today. That was what it was, a new unworldly order girl. Did you ever see that one, Steve?
No.
I was sort of in my little black slip, and I just, in 5 minutes, just, went to my little pile of shelves here and pulled out something and put it on and just started dancing. And based on that, I think Christine Ebersole, who was the Tony Award-winning actress for Grey Gardens and something else, also Saturday Night Live, she loves YouTube. And she consented to do an interview with me after she saw that. So what that did was it attracted some attention that here is a bold person. Here's a person that will do something a little out of the box. But my intention wasn't anything other than what I told you. I really was in grief and despair and thinking that, you know what, if I died tomorrow, I'm going to dance today. That's what started it. Then later on, by the time Steve is called 41, 41 Music is his site, and by the time I became familiar with his work, I started to be introduced to a deeper level of the 9/11 investigation, and that was that there was television fakery done during 9/11. And that television fakery involves mind control and group hypnosis. And then the most sophisticated people, when I would visit or look at their comments, look at their sites, they started to get involved with images of pretty girls, and they would put these pretty girls in, and I've always been attracted to beauty. I'm not a lesbian, I just like beauty, and I think the feminine body is beautiful. And my sister's a wardrobe consultant, and I'm just attracted to harmony. So this I thought was very interesting. And then I don't know how I got the idea to give it a try myself, but I did, and then I had the great good fortune. Well, I sent him some raw footage, and what I was interested in was having a document of my body, because in the last 2 years after I came back from India, my body had actually started to look better and better and better, and I hadn't even noticed, and all of a sudden I thought, my God, my butt looks great, and I thought that, why does this process have to end? And I've had back surgery, and I've had major problems, and I'm going to be working with the Alexander technique, and here's the exciting thing. In the Alexander technique, it says, Alexander was a Victorian, he was an actor, and he said he noticed his voice went out, and he realized when he looked in front of a mirror, his voice would go out the more he would try to stand correctly. And he realized this correct posture somehow was the so-called correct posture, socially acceptable correct posture, was leading to a breakdown in his voice. And all the experts he saw, he was finally faced with, they were going to do a throat operation and cut the back of his tongue or something. He didn't want to do that. So he spent months in front of a mirror and worked out what's eventually called the Alexander technique. And that's something that gave me great benefit after I had 2 metal rods removed from my back at 21 that were put into my back at 14 because my spine was mysteriously curving. The meditation made it sort of uncurve a bit, but I still had the metal in my back. And I had them removed at 21, and then at 30, it was 9 years. Took 9 years with yoga, didn't do anything. But the Alexander technique at 30 years old, the first lesson I had, I go, wow. And what it is, Steve, it tries to break your perception of your body versus how your body really is. In other words, we think, the more we do what we think is right, the worse it gets. And so then I thought, could it be that because of our media showing us false images of airplanes, cartoons flying into buildings, that then galvanizes a country who normally wouldn't go along with an agenda of war to go to war? Could this be the same metaphor, the same thing, that we're not perceiving where our body's at, and that with the hands of a skillful teacher, we can start to bring into alignment our perception of our body as it actually is, and let the intelligence of the body take over as opposed to us sort of forcing it.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
figure someone like you, so here's the thing, what these guys are doing that seem to be the ones most persecuted on YouTube and taken down.
I'm sorry, but I got deleted again today. I just found out.
Yo, you did? Yeah, okay. Well, see, here's the thing. People like yourself who are doing the most thoughtful work to break the hypnosis and the trance, particularly when it comes to the feminine body. It seems as though the female body in particular, like Ugly George said, how come, when they're so offended by women's breasts, they're not showing pictures of young boys? They're not showing the pedophiles, what they're attracted to. Why is it the innocent woman's body that's being called such a culprit? And my feeling is there's that, and I have a lot of reason to go much deeper into this, which has to do with Tantra and that women have an extra chakra, but that the woman's body in particular can break the trance. It has something to do with the Divine Mother. It has something to do with our source as humanity. And when you take the Tahitian culture, it's usually considered more feminine, more nature-oriented. And so a person, an artist like 41 here, like Steve, has the ability to take images that I was just going to use more as a doctor to sort of show how I felt that the Kundalini was now alive on my base area, and I'm trying to bring it up because even more so than other women, as I'm into menopause, the dowager's hump, as the spine starts to curve, is an issue I want to deal with, and I'm hoping with the Alexander technique I can. So I had actually had more of a clinical interest, but in your hands, Steve, 41 Music, you made it into art. I mean, like you say, you laughed when you saw it.
Yeah.
And my computer was crashing for 20 minutes until I put that image up.
No, I was thinking of the art he put in it,
Yeah.
and especially this part where you see the planes going to your belly.
Yeah,
That was something.
yeah.
I never saw something like that.
Oh, you never have? Because I don't
No.
think anybody's ever had airplanes flying into women's bellies, have they?
What I'd like to know,
Yes,
why,
yeah.
why did he choose those planes to
Yeah.
go into your belly?
Why did you do it?
Oh, well, actually, the thought when I did that is you had mentioned a couple times, Paula, that you want planes to fly into your body.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
said
true.
that?
It's true, I asked for that. What these guys are doing that seem to be the ones most persecuted on YouTube and taken down.
I'm sorry, but I got deleted again today. I just found out.
Yo, you did? Yeah, okay. Well, see, here's the thing. People like yourself who are doing the most thoughtful work to break the hypnosis and the trance, particularly when it comes to the feminine body. It seems as though the female body in particular can break the trance. It has something to do with the Divine Mother. It has something to do with our source as humanity. And when you take the Tahitian culture, it's usually considered more feminine, more nature-oriented. And so a person, an artist like 41 here, like Steve, has the ability to take images that I was just going to use more as a doctor to sort of show how I felt that the Kundalini was now alive on my base area. And I'm trying to bring it up because even more so than other women, as I'm into menopause, the dowager's hump, as the spine starts to curve, is an issue I want to deal with, and I'm hoping with the Alexander technique I can. So I had actually had more of a clinical interest, but in your hands, Steve, 41 Music, you made it into art. Like you say, you laughed when you saw it.
Yeah.
And my computer was crashing for 20 minutes until I put that image up.
No, I was thinking of the art he put in it, and especially this part where you see the planes going to your belly.
Yeah.
That was something.
Yeah.
I never saw something like that.
Oh, you never have? Because I don't think anybody's ever had airplanes flying into women's
So
bellies, have they?
did...
It says 41 quits. This is sad.
Right.
Can you talk about the inspiration of that?
Well, that is April Fool's Day joke.
Uh-huh.
And with my account being deleted again today for the 6th time, everyone knows I keep getting deleted. And I thought it was a perfect chance for a joke to say, like, I've had it, I'm fed up, I quit. April Fools.
But you were kind of thinking that that would happen, huh?
Yeah, I was due. I had that account for about a week, and they had already gotten Ozzy again, and so I figured it was any day, and boom, they got me the next day.
You should be coming up to New York pretty soon, and let's see if we can get you in the studio and get the attention of people who have no idea that this is happening.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Any news from the Ford models? Because you would think that their copyright, they would have been concerned that you were using their images of their beautiful young models.
What their feelings on that was they saw the art that I was doing and appreciated it, and as long as it was something, you know, I guess somewhat respectable in their eyes or decent art, they were 100% okay with it, which is a very wonderful attitude to have in this world today, I think.
It's also like product placement, isn't it good? Like that Welch's one that I like so much of the little girl saying
Right,
41.
the Juicy Juice.
Yeah. Did Welch's have a problem with that?
No, so far I've only gotten copyright complaints from such struggling businesses as Victoria's Secret, the National Basketball Association, and the recording artist Prince. I mean, I'm sure I was really cutting into their sales, you know, that they had to complain to YouTube about my video.
So it was Victoria's Secret that complained about you?
Yeah, they did once, and the NBA did, and Prince did once.
NBA is what?
The
Football?
the professional basketball
Wow.
league. And if you see, that's the other thing. If you go to YouTube right now and type in NBA, you'll find a billion, you know, bootleg video clips. But they chose to remove mine. The NBA footage I used was in a piece that dealt with 9/11 and everything. So I just think that's funny that there's a billion of these videos on YouTube. I mean, if they enforced their copyright, they wouldn't have a site.
Wow.
Very selective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to turn it back to Michelle and ask her what her feelings are about the 9/11 TV fakery, because she was looking she's a total novice at this.
Yeah, I'd like to know what she thinks about the video of the plane. The building like that. What do you think would you want that?
Well, you are in that. For me, it's obvious that there was fakery, and just because of the state of mind, the psychological and spiritual state of the country. It's obvious that there are more fakeries than just that one, but it's unfortunately for a huge event as such as 9/11, it hit so many families and the nation and the world itself. So it's dramatic. So I'm quite impressed by the fact that it has been revealed, and it has to be. I think people have to continue bringing this up, because there's more probably to come, and if people understand that it happened, it's almost a responsibility that we all have to do. But I'm very happy I saw those pictures.
You're happy you saw it?
Well, I'm happy because I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, and if we still have the ability to bring the truth out, it's good to really rush into that because it looks like many issues such as freedom and are being taken away. And while we can, it's good to work on that harder, maybe, so that a greater number of people can realize that, because it's still in the mind of a lot of people, not completely a truth, but the fact that the seeds of truth have been worked on by many, and you are part of that, and Paula is part of that, and it's amazing. So I'm very happy to find out that there are many people who work on that. So I do appreciate them.
I think we're sort of artists, or healers. Healers are artists.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we use images of beauty to help people look at the ugly.
And to even maybe find some beauty in the ugly.
Right.
Well, it's a dance. I call this a dance. You're dancing with light and truth in your ways. Everybody has their own expressions. Do I say it well? You express your dance that way. So, and we have to dance more.
We have to dance more.
Yeah.
How are you feeling today, Steve?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Just found out about the account, but like I said, I was expecting that. So.
Wow. Well, I think what I'm going to do is get this up, put it on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and see if we can just sort of mobilize the attention of people who I think are well-meaning, but I think they'd rather look the other way. Maybe we can, with our force as healers and artists, to sort of, I don't think we can turn the tide, you know what I mean? But be ready when the tide turns.
I think what you're working on as an artist is strengthening the belief structure. And the belief structure that we're going towards and we're in is there's something bigger in terms of the expression of beauty. And people are afraid that the majority of people are just living with what is given to them. What we do is dancing with that strength to make it louder and stronger, right, and more beautiful. And you know, I know only on my part I cannot think of otherwise, and not be influenced by what is given, because what you do is more concrete, more powerful.
You know how much she knows what she's talking about, Steve? She swam with sharks in Tahiti. Talk about what that was like. It's not what you think. Listen to the story.
Okay.
Well, I was a kid. When I was a kid, maybe about 4 or 5, a huge shark came to the beach, and I climbed on that huge shark, not afraid. It was kind of, the shark was, I think the shark was old, but it felt like it came for the last time on the beach to visit me. But shark has teeth. Shark can do a lot of painful injuries, as you know.
Yeah, the shark can tear you up.
But I was playing with the shark, and I was very, very happy. I didn't know it could eat me, or it could do something, could harm me. And as I was playing, a few people, Polynesians came. There were maybe around 4 or 5, very scared for me. They came and picked me from the shark, and to protect me and save me somehow. And they killed the shark. And I was crying because I was having a good time with the shark. And I asked the leader of that group, why did you kill my shark? My shark was very nice. And he couldn't give me an answer. And I also point out to the group, because the group was just following what that leader was doing. They all did what the leader was doing. So I heard the shark telling me, don't ever be like them. You're bigger than them. The eye of the shark was very, very powerful and still is in me. I saw the nostalgia.
Yeah, the nostalgia, the soul,
the soul, everything, yeah.
Of the shark.
And it's still with me.
Right.
So I do said that's the innocence. For me, they kill the innocence. The shark was telling me they kill also their own innocence. Do you understand what I'm saying? By killing the innocence, they kill their own innocence. And that's what's happening in this world. People are killing their own innocence. They know there's something higher and more beautiful, but somehow they're afraid of that innocence, because innocence is powerful. There's a genuine message from the shark, so I remain with that shark, and I call the shark innocence, and I was with the shark. So when he told me not to be like them, it was not to ever forget this innocence throughout my life. So it doesn't matter what the world is doing, I remain with the shark spirit. I remain with that innocence.
Have you continued to have experiences like that into your adulthood?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Special kind of communication? Constantly,
because I see what people are trying to do, and actually to rob my innocence, to rob my innocence. That when I see those children being prostituted, and this is the same thing. It's killing, taking away this innocence, and that's grave. Not impressed by that, but I know what they are doing.
Joe Friendly and I and Michelle were doing the show, and Joe was explaining controlled demolition, and I was explaining the no planes theory. And at a certain point, Michelle is totally innocent. She's never really heard much of the 9/11 controversy. Not that she hasn't thought about it, she just hasn't been immersed in any type of ideology that's questioning it. And I could see, as Joe was explaining to me, how the airplane could go in one side of the World Trade Center and come out the other, and how water can go through steel, and how a master karate chop guy can go through wood. And I'm knowing that he's really believing what he's saying. And I'm like collapsing inside to think that the mind control is so strong that it can separate logic between me and my good friend Joe, because I really love Joe. And I know that he is really telling me this with all his heart and soul, and he's really worried about me not helping the reinvestigation that's right at their fingertips. But as this is happening, I can just feel, as I'm starting to explain on the radio show, what the logic is for no planes coming in, and that the media showed cartoons. I see this expression on Michelle's face where she like gets it, and she goes into this deep, not shock, but like a sadness. It was like a real human reaction. It was a human being. And I felt sad to be giving bad news to somebody who I like so much, but at the same time, I felt so like a sister, a closeness. So.
Well, this is why I always honor people who are really working towards freedom and truth, because this is what, again, we are really here for a short time, and we need to understand some even freedom. What is freedom? And when you are with yourself, you can dance. You can. Right. You are very content. There's something, a peace that peace that no one can disturb.
Right.
And the reason I think why a lot of people are trying, controlling, and this is they don't have that. you harm people, because and you can't even stand the fact that some people have this peace, this ocean of peace within them, can dance. You know,
Right.
they can dance, they float, no matter what you do. No matter what you do, as somebody who can roam the street, I can see the same eye
Right.
that the shark has, because there's innocence as beauty.
Right.
I feel
The
drawn.
garbage people, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes.
When I ride my bicycle around, Steve, sometimes I get the greatest joy from a happy garbage man who we're just enjoying Manhattan. It's like we're alive when other people are dead, even if they're in a limousine. You know?
They're like zombies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And yet, when you see even some very those farmers, pearl farmers, far away in the Pacific, they own lands. They will not tell you, but there's a big contrast of those who owns and know and share, than those who own and want more and more and more and destroy. So,
Wow,
coming
that's-
back to this ownership that you're saying, I can have more because I know I can share, but the way you share allows you to still maintain this equilibrium with yourself,
Right.
and keep these blessings,
Right.
abundance, which is actually the right blessing for every human being.
Right.
So it's a very deep. You can go far, really
Yeah.
far with this shark. What the shark gave me, this nostalgia, this beauty, was absolutely rich. And
Right.
Whether I'm sleeping on the floor on a beautiful carpet somewhere, I feel the same.
Yeah.
I feel rich with a piece of bread and a tiny soup, or a nice lobster somewhere.
Right.
So
Right.
the richness of my heart and my soul is what I want to preserve, and sharing that. So illusions around me, illusions of happiness, don't reach me, because I don't have illusions of happiness. I am happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all these illusions, all those things that people are doing, shaping, modifying, is only saying how they think, who they are. And if you keep manufacturing or blending the illusions with the real place, I'm not saying illusion, the real place where I belong, it's there. They are only destroying and making more,
Right.
messing up their own lives,
You know,
eventually.
Steve, I'm pretty convinced of her Tahitian royalty. What do you think?
Yeah.
But I'm also simple, so...
No, I know, but I'm saying it's the idea of private ownership, but of a sense of responsibility to share.
Sure.
One thing I would like to know, Steve, can you talk as a man about the 9/11 sort of so-called pornography aspect, or I don't know what's a better word for it, because pornography has a bad connotation.
The controversy?
Yeah. What does it do? What does it do for you to see beautiful women's bodies? I mean, it must do something, otherwise you wouldn't be editing it. Juxtaposed next to horrible images. I mean, what's so horrible is not just the airplane, the destruction of all the lives lost in those buildings, but that the public was so deceived and continues to be. What happens to you, Steve?
I don't know. That's kind of tough to answer, but speaking to the controversy about it, I think that just stems from a general sense. Anything with sex, any opportunity to be negative, what it does for me as a man, just to see it. See, I think we got to talk about the sexual aspects of the attack itself and the total penetration of the plane, and sort of like the raping of the masses as they sit out there and watch this. And I think maybe mixing in the sexual imagery is more powerful and is bringing out a lot of energy in people because of the sexual symbolism in the attack itself.
You know, I think you would get a lot of, I think Joe Friendly and a lot of people who don't even know they're hypnotized, there's a lot of lip service given to being sexually free, but in truth, it's different. What do you think?
No, I think that's 100% bang on.
So what is an artist's role?
Well, I don't know. If you want to look at it too much as like you have a responsibility to fulfill your role or anything, I think an artist fulfills his role without even intending to. By the nature of being an artist, you're going to do that anyway. And I think if you focus too much on a conscious intention, like, well, let's do this, let's do that, let's set out to do this, I think that stuff comes with just our nature, or if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
No, it does, because you have the spontaneous. I think what I agree on what he's saying is spontaneity in the light, actually. When it comes whether you think or not, and sometimes it's better to just be innocent, so that the sparkles and seeds of the other beauties can come, and revelations, really.
Right.
I believe in that.
So what we'll say, the greatest of things are done with a light heart?
Exactly, yes. And the angels fly because they take themselves lightly. Imagine how much more so the Lord of the angels.
Right.
It's being a child, really, because this child spirit is with you and enables you to just fly, isn't it?
That's what I was thinking. How old did you say you were when you had the shark experience?
About 5.
About 5. I think children at that age are having those types of experiences all the time, and then we gradually have that indoctrinated out of us, or we just lose that as we go into adulthood.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Paula about a bit earlier about memory, and when this experience with the shark came, I never forgot. And it's even from that experience when I was 5, I can think of this experience as it happened yesterday, because the power of the experience was felt maybe when I was 5, but in my heart, I still feel that I have this 5-year-old with me.
Right.
So it's a power when you can really bring a strong and beautiful experience like that in your heart, soul, DNA. It brings you even further. You know, it brought me to several places where I never thought, how come a shark brought me there? How come even a ray or another whale or something that has so brought me to the places I am today? And how I found the strength to even shake up a lot of things, because there was an inner force in me that brought a lot of spontaneous other miracles in a way. So I owe to life, life owes to me, or it's a blend of beauty that, again, I will talk about that maybe later on. It was an eternal moment, that moment where I felt I was on the shark, that moment where they killed, that moment where the shark looked at me. I was able to eternalize that moment.
Steve, you must have a lot of this going too with you. Some great inspiration going. Nico Haupt wanted to warn me. He said, you know, they may take your site down, and I want to tell you, it's like losing a girlfriend. You think you can get over it, but it's really hard. What's it like after 6 times?
After 6 times, it's nothing like the first time. I just expected it. I've accepted it. I've decided not to devote my time and effort to completely reestablishing it, knowing it's just going to get taken down again. So I just put up a few videos. So, but I understand that first time it was like being punched in the gut. It was very tough.
Yeah, yeah. What would it be like in the future if someone said, gee, you know, you're a great editor and we're going to hire you and just never have anything to do with this 9/11 TV fakery? What would you do?
The moment of truth, right? The integrity.
Yeah.
I couldn't turn my back. I couldn't walk away from it now. I don't think I could do that. And it's really vital to any type of situation, any type of political thing. If we're going to save this thing, I think this is the key. The 9/11, the television fakery on 9/11, the hypnosis that gets into the psychology, and I think it is vital. So it would be pretty tough to ignore it.
Right. Well, I guess we're all in this together now. We have to go on and do our art.
This is very grave. It's they rather kill if someone doesn't go with what the leader, or what symbolized the leader, the one that was corrupted.